Am I wrong that I'm about to do the most woman thing I could do and watch a true crime video? Here we go by Beyond Evil, the bitter story of Seath Jackson. I love these videos.
Young love can be an all-consuming experience.
Oh my God, it even has the right voice for it.
For 15
this is like the perfect voice for these kind of videos.
Florida teen Seath Jackson, who met and fell in love
by Beyond Evil
Wright during the summer of 2011. For Seath, he felt he had found his dream girl in the doe-eyed, auburn-haired Amber. Tragically for Seath, he couldn't have been more wrong.
I don't know this story.
This case is the single most cold, calculated, premeditated case of murder that I have ever seen.
Before we start, we would like to send our thoughts and prayers to the loved ones of Seath Jackson. Welcome to Bellevue, a sleepy town located in the heart of Central Florida. Known as the city with small-town charm, Bellevue is surrounded by lush countryside and green pastures, sparkling freshwater springs, and an abundance of wildlife. But for the teenagers who live in this quiet residential community, life can get a little too quiet. Other than the skate park and a drive-in movie theater in nearby Ocala,
holy crap, a drive-in movie
offer little in the way of entertainment.
Yeah, it's small town for you.
Trouble is easy to find, particularly for those who fall in with the wrong crowd. On April 17, 2011, 15-year-old Seath Tyler Jackson was spending his Sunday afternoon how he often did that spring of his sophomore year, hanging out with his friends playing video games. But on this particular Sunday, Seath was agitated. His ex-girlfriend, 15-year-old Amber Wright, kept messaging him. Amber wanted to meet with...
Okay, guys, could you tell from the picture? Like, if you could analyze this picture, do you think you could tell that she would try to kill you? That's what they all say.
Seath to talk about rekindling their relationship. She wanted to talk to him alone and suggested meeting at her friend Charlie Ely's trailer. Seath was tempted, but he was also wary. He had just spent weeks embroiled in a bitter and vicious breakup with Amber that had escalated to the point of a physical altercation with Amber's new boyfriend, 18-year-old Michael Bargo. Was this some kind of ploy to get revenge? Seath's friends were also equally skeptical. In their minds, there was something up with Amber's sudden change of heart. They reminded Seath that Amber was bad news and that he didn't need the drama. Seath messaged Amber saying that he was worried she was setting him up to be jumped.
Man, see the problem though is like I can totally understand like being this guy and like you have a friend, like a person who's been your friend for like such a long time. You know, you've had a lot of good moments together and then they go crazy on you, but then they're like, you want it to not be like that, right? Because you're like, you'd rather just be friends and then you just get kind of suckered into it, right? She
assured him that he wasn't. And when his phone rang a short time later, friends overheard Amber.
Like, I'd rather be friends with people than not. So it's kind of like the ability to like possibly like bury the hatchet seems like so appealing. It's like I can totally see how like he'd want to go through this despite having a bad breakup.
That she loved him and that she wanted him back and implored him to meet with her. Seath relented. Beneath his angry bravado, Seath still loved Amber and had been heartbroken.
No, I don't think it has to do with like no life experience. I think like it's just a relatable thing to like want to be friends rather than enemies with people.
A short time later, Seath left his friend's house claiming he was on his way home and headed out for the night. It was the last time any of his friends would see him alive. In late 2010, Seath Jackson was in his sophomore year of high school. The youngest of three boys, Seath had grown up enjoying life in rural Florida, climbing trees, skateboarding, and BMXing, much of it with his best friend, William Samalot. William and Seath had been friends for as long as they could remember. More like brothers, William said, and Seath was the kind of person who would do anything for you. At 14, life was good for Seath Jackson. Tall for his age, Seath was good-looking, bright, and popular. He had a reputation for being
Redneck Boulevard.
Collected. William and Seath shared many of the same interests, including a love of mixed martial arts and, more recently, a growing interest in parties and girls. And a
wait. Hold on, wait. Is this what a party looks like, you guys? Wait, is that how you party? Like this guy right here?
interest in
Like that? That's how you dance?
parties and girls. And a lot of girls want
Wait, what is this guy doing in the
a
front?
growing interest in parties.
That's
and
how you
girls.
party?
And a lot of girls
Fucking hell.
wanted to date Seath Jackson. In December of 2010, 14-year-old
Dude, me neither.
Seath began dating a pretty, petite, auburn-haired girl named Amber Wright. Amber was confident and popular with a wide circle of friends. The connection between them was instant. Seath, for his part, was infatuated with Amber. All too quickly, the pair became inseparable. Seath's parents, Scott and Sonia, remembered them always being together. In early March 2011, Seath professed his love for Amber on his Facebook page. But while the relationship was intense, it was also volatile. Much of their relationship revolved around drinking and smoking cannabis.
Oh, there it is.
The two had trust and jealousy issues and fought hard and often. Meanwhile, Seath's parents perceived a distinctly manipulative aspect to Amber's character, but it was not enough to set off any serious alarm bells, and certainly not enough to predict in their wildest dreams the evil that Amber would soon prove herself capable of. Amber and Seath's relationship came to an end in the latter part of March 2011 when Amber abruptly dumped Seath. But if their relationship had been toxic and turbulent, it would be nothing compared to their breakup.
Wait, what?
On March 28, Seath announced on Facebook that he was single. Within days, the two had begun a vicious back and forth.
Thank you. I really appreciate. By the way, I just want to say, beyond evil, I really appreciate you blurring that out. Thank you so much. Like you're a hero. You're a legend.
Of insults and incendiary name-calling for all their friends to see. Seath had discovered that Amber had cheated on him and posted comments calling her a slut and a cheat.
Wait, but she broke up. She broke up with him. Why did she murder? I guess because he talked too much shit. Like
37 comments with several of Seath's Facebook friends calling him out both on his language and the accusations. As for Amber's posts, she claimed that she had never loved Seath. In one, she wrote, "Just do me a favor and consider me dead to you. I never loved you. I don't even want to hear your name." In another, she wrote, "It takes a real man to accept the fact that he got broke up with." Seath responded, "We both need
to..." She's like a Furin demon or something out there? You ever consider that she did just because she was evil?
Let all of this go. Yeah, we split. Yeah, it hurt, but I'm over it. I'm just not gonna let Mike have his cake and eat it too. The Mike that Seath was referring to was 18-year-old Michael Shane Bargo. Bargo was the boy Amber had cheated on him with, and Seath had...
I have a question, chat. Do you guys find this stuff to be attractive? Like, actually? And this and this? I don't get it. I've, never understood this. What's the point? I don't get it. I've really never understood this in my whole life.
Now discovered that Amber and Bargo were dating. It was information that would consume Seath with jealousy and hurt and escalate the conflict to new heights. Seath had already known Michael Bargo for some time. The two actively disliked each other. Since his arrival in Florida 2 years earlier, Bargo had gained a reputation for trying to be perceived as a tough guy, an image that Seath wasn't buying. Still, there was no doubt that Bargo was troubled. He had grown up in a...
So what? Like, he came in, the other guy came in, he's like, "Yo, I'm so badass." Like, so manly. The other guy just goes, "Ha, gay." Like, that's all I just imagine it. Like, he just came in, like trying to look all cool, and then the guy just called him out.
Home filled with violence and conflict. According to his mother, Bargo's father was an alcoholic with an explosive temper, and as he grew older, Bargo himself would often explode in extreme fits of rage. After Bargo moved to Florida at 16 to live with his father, he dropped out of school and moved out of his father's home, drifting from house to house, staying with friends. Twice he had been arrested for burglary. He had an active restraining order against him and was known for carrying a .22 caliber revolver everywhere he went. Later, Amber would...
A 22? I think the other guy was right. The other guy was right.
His father's home, drifting from house to house, staying with friends.
The other guy was right about him, that he's trying to act tough, but he's not. Yeah.
Twice he had been arrested for burglary. He had an active restraining order against him.
Oh, it could be Magnum. I guess so, yeah.
A .22 caliber revolver everywhere he
Oh my god, that's so cringe. Look how he did that.
him, and was known.
Oh my god. Guys, this like makes me physically cringe. Like looking at like what's happening on screen right now. This gives me a physical like disgusted reaction. Hold on.
Over everywhere he went. Later, Amber would claim that she only dated Bargo to goad and hurt Seath. If that was her goal, she succeeded. Seath was devastated by the loss of Amber to Bargo. Bargo now became the crux of Seath's issue with Amber and the target of his anger. Seath took to openly taunting and threatening Bargo on Facebook. He repeatedly
I think these are
challenged him to a
stock
fight.
videos. I don't think this is
Some of
actually
Seth's
like them.
friends weighed in on the feud enthusiastically, calling Bargo soft and implying that he would soon get beaten up by Seath if Bargo would come out and fight like a man. Meanwhile, Amber had told Bargo that Seath had been physically abusive to her throughout their relationship, adding fuel to the fire. As the feud gained momentum, Bargo ranted to friends about his hatred for Seath. The feud then spread to Amber's half-brother, Kyle Hooper. 16-year-old Kyle was dating a girl named Alyssa. In the midst of the Seath feud with Bargo, Alyssa broke up with Kyle over the phone, and when Kyle turned up at her house to talk to her, he found her in bed with Seath.
Wait.
Both sides now
What?
broke up with friends about his hatred for Seath. The feud then spread to Amber's half-brother, Kyle Hooper. 16-year-old Kyle was dating a girl named Alyssa. In the midst of the Seath feud with Bargo, Alyssa broke up with Kyle over the phone, and when Kyle turned up at her house to talk to her, he found her in bed with Seath. Both sides now traded threats of physical violence. Seath threatened to burn Amber's house down. What had been an online battle quickly spilled into the real world. After finding out that Amber and Bargo were going to a local party, Seath turned up and
Where are the parents at?
confronted him. A heated exchange took place before Seath laid the older boy out in front of a crowd of peers. The humiliation of being beaten by the younger Seath would
This
prove
is the
to be
white trash
too bitter
Olympic,
a pill
dude.
for Bargo to swallow.
They should have went to Diamond Dave's ninja school. I think none of this would have happened if he went to Diamond Dave's and learned all about being a ninja.
And what Seath could not have possibly known then was that Bargo was no ordinary love rival. Bargo was someone with a deeply disturbed mind, a man with no moral compass and no sense of compassion, and certainly no limits when it came to the suffering he was willing to inflict on a person in the name of restoring.
By the way,
his
Shy, I'm
pride.
gonna play after this video.
If there was such a thing as the wrong crowd in the Bellevue area, it was the teens who hung around 18-year-old Charlie K. Ely's trailer in rural Summerfield.
Oh, there's so many
Charlie's
characters
trailer
in
was
this.
a popular hangout spot for teens looking for somewhere to party away from the rules and restrictions of home. And with her husband in jail and rent to cover, Charlie had let out rooms to Justin Soto, age 20, Kyle Hooper, age 16, and Michael Bargo. Kyle Hooper had left home after fighting with his current stepfather over drug use. Justin Soto had juvenile arrests for possession of a weapon on school property, battery, and burglary. Bargo, meanwhile, was the self-appointed ringleader of the posse that hung out at Charlie's. On the afternoon of April 17th, Bargo shared with his group his plans to kill Seath Jackson.
Holy
There
crap.
that day were Justin Soto, Kyle Hooper, Amber Wright, Charlie Ely, and 37-year-old James Young Havens III, the former stepfather to Amber and Kyle and a regular visitor at Charlie's. According to Kyle, Bargo said, "We need to kill Seath Jackson. Nobody likes him. We need to kill him."
Oh my god.
Bargo had already thought through exactly how to do it and the role
Yo, why is there that like super there's like one old person?
that each of them would play. Bargo's idea was to lure Seath to the trailer through Amber, who would invite Seath over under the pretense of wanting to rekindle their relationship. Once Seath was in the house, Justin Soto would hit Seath with an axe handle or piece of wood, before Bargo and Hooper would move in and shoot and beat him.
Holy crap.
Bargo would then take him to the bathtub to finish the job. He was emphatic that Seath should still be alive at that moment he killed him. He wanted to look into Seth's face before he pulled the trigger so Seath would know exactly who it was that was ending his life.
Psychotic, man.
Most teenagers would have recoiled at Bargo's proposal. The plot was abominable, inconceivable, no matter what real or imagined crimes Seath had committed. But not with this group. Within minutes of hearing Bargo's plan, all 5 were on board. And in the same way a group of teenagers might plan a party, they began to hash out the finer details of their twisted
That's so
plot.
cool. There's that many people that were okay with it?
Go home, later claiming he felt uncomfortable. Not so uncomfortable, of course, that he would try to deter the teenagers from acting on their deranged plan, or even to inform the police. Just enough to not hear any more. And indeed, he would return the next day to help the teenagers dispose of the body.
Oh my God.
Shortly after 7 p.m., Amber contacted Seath and told him of her hopes to reconcile and her desire to meet up. She pulled out all the stops to reassure him that he could trust her and that she loved him, knowing full well that with each sentence she was wooing Seath towards a violent and certain death. Moments before Seath left his friend's house to meet Amber, he sent one last message. It said, "Amber, if you have me jumped, I will never give you the time of day. So if I get jumped, say goodbye, all right?" Seth's gut was telling him that something was wrong, but his concerns centered around getting a beating. That Amber and her friends could have been planning his own diabolical slaying was simply beyond the realm of any sane person's imagination. At 7:58 p.m., Amber sent a message
That's
telling
freaking
Seth
mental.
to meet her at the corner close to Charlie's home. When Seth replied that he was almost there, Amber responded enthusiastically, "See you there." When they finally met, Seth was surprised to find Charlie with Amber. But Amber reassured him and persuaded him to come back to Charlie's. He agreed. Once in the house, he found Kyle there. But Kyle was friendly, and once again, Amber placated him, asking Kyle to leave the room so she could talk to Seth in private. With the plan now in full swing, Kyle joined Bargo in a back room to prepare for the moment the savage attack would begin. It was at this moment that Kyle had a flicker of conscience. Faced with the reality of what lay ahead, Kyle expressed his doubts to Bargo, who quickly put them to rest. He reminded Kyle of all the things Seth had done, sleeping with Kyle's girlfriend, disrespecting his sister, trying to jump them, deserved to die.
Dude, that's...
In the living room, with Amber distracting Seth, Kyle and Soto emerged from their rooms and began beating Seth with pieces of wood. In an instant, Seth was on his feet and running for the door. It was now Bargo's turn. He opened fire, shooting Seth twice in the back. Seth made it out the door and almost to the road before Soto tackled him to the ground, and together with Kyle and Bargo, wrestled him back into the house. He was then dragged into the bathroom, bloodied and mortally wounded, but still alive, and placed in the bathtub. Bargo now instructed Kyle and Soto to help Amber and Charlie clean the blood splatter from the living room and kitchen while he had his turn.
What made
dealing
them
with
think
Seth.
they could get a...
Kyle later said,
Like, what in the world made them think that they could get away with this? Like, the amount of mess that they're making, too, like, and the amount of evidence that they're leaving everywhere. What possessed them to actually think that they could get away with it?
He heard Bargo yelling and cussing and beating Seth, and the sound of more gunshot. Bargo then delivered his final shot, this time in the face, killing him
Fucking animals,
instantly.
dude.
The final atrocity now began. The gruesome disposal of the body. Michael Bargo broke Seth's kneecaps with a baseball bat and hogtied him in order to fit the lifeless body into a sleeping bag. He then pulled out Seth's teeth with pliers. Together, the group dragged the boy's body into Charlie's fire pit, where a fire had been prepared and was already burning fiercely. After placing the body in the pit, the group sat around the pyre like it was a festive bonfire, drinking, laughing, and talking, all the while tending to the burning body of their innocent victim until it was nothing more than ashes and bone fragments. Neighbors would later recall seeing terrifyingly high flames and the sounds of what they thought were fireworks, but the music and laughter convinced them that a party was being held. The next day, James Young Havens stepped in to help the teenagers dispose of the remains. He helped them shovel Seth's remains into 3 5-gallon cans, which were thrown into a nearby flooded lime pit. He then helped them clean up the last of the bloodstains in the house with bleach. Once everything was clean, the group relaxed and played basketball. Seth had
They
always
fucking just played basketball after.
made sure to call his parents if he was
Holy
going to be
shit.
late or not coming home at night. When he failed to return home without phoning on the night of April 17th, the young
They be
man's mother
ballin'.
knew instinctively that something was terribly wrong. Early the next day, she reported the disappearance to the police, and by the day after, his disappearance was being broadcast all over the local news. Several miles down the road, Kyle Hooper was watching TV that day with his mother Tracy. When the news of Seth's disappearance came on the air, Kyle promptly admitted to having witnessed the murder, but denied any involvement. Tracy immediately notified the police.
I was like expecting like a investigation and them showing up at the place and then having to like interrogate the people, like the witnesses, and like finding like some kind of bone fragment or something. But instead, one of the dudes just ratted for no reason.
Later that day, as she sat at the local police department, she had not the slightest idea that both of her children had been key players in the murder of Seath Jackson, and that neither would ever be returning home.
Detectives are piecing together the final brutal moments of Seath Jackson's life.
The local teen was beaten, shot, mutilated, burned into ashes, and his remains sunk to the bottom of a local quarry.
West 2's Kendra A. with the late-breaking details tonight from Marion County.
Lead detectives tell West 2 News they believe they know where the murder weapon has been hidden, but right now they are not telling us whether it has been found. Crime scene techs wrapped up scouring the property here for evidence where they say 15-year-old Seath Jackson was viciously murdered.
This is ruthless.
Friends of 15-year-old Seath Jackson continue to visit.
That's so crazy that's how they found out, because the dude just ratted for literally no reason. Just literally no reason, just out of nowhere. He just ratted.
Amber Wright then attacked.
That's crazy.
And burned. Detectives say Wright.
Why would he do that?
Michael Bargo is the mastermind behind the killing.
Potentially you are facing the death penalty.
Bargo faced a judge with a gash on his eye and forehead. Investigators tell West 2 News he had the cuts when they arrested him. The suspects tell police the victim tried to run from the home after Bargo shot him and was still alive even after the group dragged him into the bathtub and broke his kneecaps to stuff him in a sleeping bag. Friends believe he fought for his life.
Seth was a little fighter. I hope Seth messed them all up.
Right now, Bargo and the teen accused of grabbing the victim as he tried to run, Justin Soto, are on suicide watch at the jail.
Maybe he wants to actually die so he doesn't have to remember anything.
Crime scene techs wrapped up.
Wait, the interrogation footage is hilarious. Wait, what happens in it, Captain Delta?
Even experienced detectives are shaken to Seath Jackson.
That's hard to believe, isn't it? That you could get 5 people together that would think that was a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Who gave them the right to take somebody's life? Who made them God? Nobody did.
Right now, Wright and her brother remain in juvenile detention. Their stepdad, accused of helping to cover up the crime, has been released on bond. The 4 suspects charged as adults will be back in court May 24th. In Marion County, Kendra A. West 2 News.
Detective Rhonda led the investigation. Kyle was the first to confess to his role in the murder of Seath Jackson. Kyle admitted to being the first to hit Seth over the head with a wooden stick. He claimed that then he told Seth to run and get out of the house, and said he was shocked when he saw Bargo shoot Seth.
I hit him over the head with a stick. Who'd you hit? Seth. Okay. And he was in the chair, and I got in the kitchen. I said, no. And then all of a sudden I hear, bam, bam, bam. Mike sitting there laying bullets into him.
So you saw Mike Bargo shoot Seth?
Yes, ma'am. And grabbed the body, put it into the bathtub, and then he was talking about how he was going to burn it, and then there was a rock quarry over here by Gander Mountain or whatever, and he was going to jump the ashes or whatever into the rock quarry.
How many times did Mike shoot him?
I don't know. I heard 8.
With Bargo nowhere to be found, Amber, Charlie, and Justin Soto were now called in for questioning. In Amber's first version of the night's events, she claimed that Seth had knocked on the door of the trailer and had asked to speak to her. She allowed him in and sat with him on the couch when Kyle suddenly burst in
they
the
have
room
cell phone
and knocked him
records,
over
so
the head. She and Charlie panicked and ran to Charlie's bedroom, where they heard the sound of multiple gunshots. They stayed hidden there all night, only emerging the next day to find the house smelling strongly of bleach. Charlie gave a similar version of events. During their interrogation, each suspect was quick to throw Bargo under the bus and denied any premeditation or knowledge of what Bargo had intended for Seth. But the police left Kyle, Charlie, and Amber to chat alone in an interrogation room. Unaware that they were being recorded, the three spoke.
Oh my God, dude, they're so dumb. Oh, this is truly special. God, they did think this was a good plan. So yeah, fair enough.
Of their roles in the death of Seth and their concerns about being caught. In a matter of minutes, they had sown the seeds of their own demise and a lifetime that would be spent behind bars. Detectives soon tracked down Bargo 80 miles away at a friend's house. Kyle's confession led to the arrest of all 6 suspects within days, including James, who was arrested as an accessory to murder.
I went away. I left. I thought it was a joke because, I don't know what to say.
All right, I want to see the one where they're all together. All right, here we go.
The staggering reality of their situation begins to sink in.
We're all in for murder. I lied. What? Did you say, why did you lie? This is our life now. Oh my God, man. We didn't do anything with the body or anything like that. I get 5 years, I'm 20 by the time I get out.
Amber is unable.
Wait, did you say
to grasp?
5 years. We didn't do anything.
That you're going to get 5 years and you're going to be 20 when you get out?
Because I'm looking at a lot of years right now. I don't have a freedom now. I've lost everything now.
Do you want to watch the rest of this?
With the body or anything like that. I get 5 years. I'm 20 by the time I get out.
Amber is unable to grasp the true magnitude of what a first-degree murder conviction would mean. 5 years would be a drop in the bucket compared to what she can expect.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm gone.
They aren't sorry they did it. They're sorry they got caught. Yeah, exactly.
Joe's gonna be gone. He's not gonna stay at all. This is all because of Mike. Like, that's all. I'm so scared. I'm gonna get my ass beat in there. I think I'm gonna be like, and I can't fresh little meat. I'm gonna be the smallest fucking person.
Oh my God, they actually have no remorse. They just feel bad for themselves.
Oh, it always is. Oh, you guys are going to the juvenile thing. I'm going to the big thing. Have you seen the juvenile? The juvenile is crazy. The jail is full of fucking older people now. Now the juvenile is all these. I'm so scared. It's gonna leave me.
In the middle of this despair, the detectives let Justin into the room. He is not happy.
We're screwed.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
And Mike's fucking running while we're all handling it for him. I want my mom. I don't want.
That's kind. I mean, this whole situation is kind of sad, honestly.
I just want my life to end right now. I just want my life to end right now.
Detectives now had a pretty good idea of what may have happened to Seth, but there were still missing pieces to the puzzle and a suspect at large. However, everything was about to fall into place. Later that same night in Stark, Florida, James Williams Sr. was driving home. He'd only stopped at work long enough to tell his boss that he needed the night off because there was something very important that he had to do.
It is true crime.
Mike Bargo to turn himself in to the police.
I actually really like true crime a lot.
Was his daughter's boyfriend.
I'm sorry.
So Mr. Williams had offered him sanctuary in good faith, unaware of the real reason Mike needed a place to lie low. Yet just before, for his overnight shift, Mike admitted the truth to him, or at least a version of it, and agreed to turn himself in. Now cleared of his work obligations, Mr. Williams was on his way to help him do just that. However, as he neared his house, he witnessed a multitude of flashing blue lights surrounding it. It seems the police had already tracked Mike and were going to relieve him of his duty. This is James Williams Sr. He is the father of Mike Bargo's girlfriend, Kristen, and is the man he chose to stay with while on the run from police.
Tell me how you became involved in this and what knowledge do you have?
Okay, I just run down everything exactly.
Mr. Williams claimed he had a strict job, so he had to go check. Several accounts placed Justin Soto at the scene, too.
You should talk to me now.
I'd like to get him one phone call because I need to get over somebody. I need to call my lawyer.
You want to talk to a lawyer? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, I'll talk to you, but I don't want to call my dad. I want to call my dad.
Hold on a second. You just said you want to talk to a lawyer. Did you want I talk to a lawyer, or do you want to talk to me? I want to clarify that first.
I'm talk to a lawyer.
Okay. Stand up.
The detective cuffs him again and leads him away. Before questioning has even begun, it is over.
Yeah.
The so-called Summerfield Six, Mike Bargo, Amber Wright, Kyle Hooper, Charlie Ely, Justin Soto, and James Havens III were charged for their roles in Seath Jackson's murder and faced trial. James Havens III was charged as an accessory to murder after the fact for helping dispose of the body and pleaded guilty. His sentence carries a penalty of up to 30 years in prison.
If he got 30? Oh, man.
But the most recent updates indicate that his sentence was deferred. Amber, Kyle, Charlie, and Justin were convicted of first-degree murder, receiving life sentences. In 2020, after
5 years.
Serving nearly 10 years of prison time, Charlie Ely's lawyer earned a retrial on claims of an ineffective defense team, and she accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder, reducing her sentence by a decade. With time served, she was freed at 27 years old.
Oh, dang.
As both the primary instigator and shooter, Mike Bargo was sentenced to death for his crime and awaits his fate on death row. His last words before heading back to his cell after sentencing were reportedly, "May God have mercy on my soul."
Damn. What happened to them now? There's nothing on it, actually. Let me check. I'm trying to get more information on the case. Okay, so basically he they got like a resentencing. He got a resentencing. So like the main guy got a resentencing, but then they just resentenced him to death. And then 2021 they upheld it by 6-1. Still currently incarcerated. Still currently still on death row, no updates. Damn, that's crazy.